years, according to a Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning. Here we are. What, hump day?
Yes, yes.
Glad you're aboard. Getting ready for another week of fun and frolic as we continue on what's happening all around the country and the world, and what we think is going to happen here. Have you heard about Hurricane Tammy?
I have not.
Well, there's a hurricane.
Oh, how are we looking on that?
Well, we're looking pretty good, actually. It's about 1,200 miles off the South Carolina coast, but it's expected to do something really unusual. It said it's going north, and it doesn't look like it's going to affect our coast, but it looks like it's going to make one of these almost a U-turn or a left turn, kind of like a Democrat, and go maybe tag Bermuda or something along those lines. Left turn.
Sorry about that.
Just to let you know, we'll keep you posted, but it should not threaten the U.S. coast.
Aren't we almost out of hurricane season?
Yes.
I was going to say, this has been a pretty mellow
end of November.
Yeah, I feel like it's been fairly mellow.
End of hurricane season. Really unusual to have a storm even this late in the year, but nevertheless, Tammy's out there, and unfortunately, Tammy will leave us alone.
Good.
At least that's the prediction, but you never can tell. We will keep you posted, so just stay tuned. Meanwhile, somebody else there's another woman that's done the old caving in like a cheap mattress.
Yep, Jenna Ellis. I think she is the fourth defendant in the case here in Georgia in Fulton County to decide that she is going to take a plea deal. She did plead to a felony, which I was really surprised.
Yeah, that is surprising.
She was facing 2 charges and decided to take the plea deal. I'm not sure. My only thing, number one, I think that she is a grifter. Mm-hmm. I think she always has been. She was so pro-Trump and then all of a sudden flipped to DeSantis when she thought that was going to be a winning road. Mm-hmm. And very interesting. Yesterday, she did read her apology letter and her plea.
Yeah, and whose palms got greased on this deal?
As an attorney who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia. Thank you.
Just to show you how deep the deep state is. All these people apparently have been threatened, or they don't want to go to jail for 22 years for something that actually did take place.
Do we think she has a book deal?
Must be.
Well, her and Sidney Powell, which Sidney Powell, surprised she caved as well, but she, because she was so, bringing the Kraken.
Yes, sirree. I'm telling you.
But
release the Kraken.
Yeah, big disappointment on both of these women, and they're saying that it hurts Trump's case, but I don't know. I think what they're pleading guilty to, I'm not really sure is anything to write home about.
No, but it's obviously to stay out of prison, and they've got some sort of a deal back room somewhere. Folks, we got the evidence. There was cheating. I mean, whether it's swayed the election or not, but I think it did. Nevertheless, we have concrete, absolute, incontrovertible evidence, and the media will not let you hear it, and the courts will not present it or listen to the cases. I kept getting these arguments with people on my radio show that were saying, "Oh, well, it's already been proven in court." No, it hasn't been proven in court. They didn't hear the case.
Yep, kind of a problem, Bill.
Mhm.
Kind of a problem.
Yeah,
And
there's a difference.
well, and I think that's the other thing that's super frustrating is the standing issue, because that's been like why a lot of the cases have been thrown out. But if a candidate and a voter doesn't have standing, who the hell does?
Exactly.
I don't know. But I do think there's a lot to be said for some of the people that are holding out. We'll see how many of them do, but I believe this brings us down to 15 defendants now, 14.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes. A lot of people are also upset because they thought that she was going to fight the charges, and she raised over $200,000, and she took the plea. So people are a little upset. It was $219,000, I believe, is what she raised. So
it takes me months to make that kind of money.
Well, the other thing is a legal defense in this case, we know, is going to be a minimum of about $1 million. So I guess I understand that the pain is the process, right? Regardless of the outcome, it will ruin your life in the process. So maybe that's why she was crying. She knew that she was going to be number one. When you're someone like Jenna Ellis, who has flip-flopped so much, who does she have, Bill? I mean, she doesn't have the Trump base. Ron DeSantis, I'm not really sure what's going on with his base, but they're
Let's just say the momentum is gone.
Yes, which is unfortunate because last year at this time, if you had said Trump DeSantis ticket, most people were on board with that. And then as time has gone on, we've seen how that's played out. And unfortunately, I don't think he'll ever have a chance of the presidency until he's probably in his 60s.
Even Bill O'Reilly, said a Trump DeSantis ticket would be unbeatable.
It makes you wonder if that's why they convinced Ron to run for president and told him, you have a great shot at winning this.
Yeah.
So
I believe he was duped.
Yeah,
and that's hard to believe. But I mean, because he's still a fantastic governor of Florida.
Yeah. Well, did you hear what he did yesterday?
His job.
Did you hear what he did yesterday?
Latest? No.
Yeah. So he there's a social group that are on two of the campuses in Florida, and they were of course having protests that were pro-Palestinian. However, he censured them, and the reason is because that they had to be removed immediately, and it's because they didn't stand in solidarity with what was going on. They provided a toolkit for people, which is a totally different level of support, and goes past the First Amendment and really increases the probability that there will be things happening on those campuses that are not good, more than protesting.
There's a lot of other things that's not good too. Of course, with these open borders, our enemies also know that the border's open. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
And there is talking of Hamas and the drug cartels teaming up.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's not believe it or not, that's not a good combination.
I was just say it's probably one of the worst combinations for America. So it's exciting.
Yeah, and for America. So just get ready, and of course they'll try to put the blame on Donald Trump.
Of course, that's what they always do.
Sure.
Something else that I saw yesterday, Bill, that I was like kind of scratching my head about was Bud Light has partnered with the UFC on a big sponsorship deal. UFC is one of the most probably conservative sports and probably some of the most in tune with their athletes and in tune with the politics of what's going on. And so it'll be interesting to see how these fighters react to a Bud Light deal because Bud Light's doubled down. I mean, they're still sponsoring a lot of gay pride events with children involved, and they haven't learned their lesson, but they are definitely trying to make it back into the hearts and minds of their base.
I don't think it's at this point, it's not learning your lesson. At this point, it's like, you're going to double down on stupid because we're going to show you that we can still survive. We're going to show you that we can hit the comeback trail, and we're going to show you that you don't tell us what to do. So it's just pathetic.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how they actually respond to this, if they decide that they won't wear a patch or they decide not to fight, or because those fighters, they are very, very vocal. Trump attends these events quite often, the UFC fights. He enjoys them, but he is welcomed with open arms there. And when he comes into the fight, I mean, it's unreal how people respond. I mean, I think it's everywhere he goes at this point, but definitely a UFC fight. He receives a very warm welcome, and people they love him. So,
and without a doubt, and you know, the monumental stupidity of the media just continues to baffle me. When they see these crowds and they don't. They said, he gets more and more indictments, and the crowds get bigger, and his popularity goes up. We just don't understand it. Well, it's because you're too stupid to understand that maybe this is a kangaroo court and that these are false charges, and that people who have an IQ that's higher than single digits understand that. When I heard one of these comment, I think it was the woman that I got a list of people that don't like it, BSDNC, was saying how much worse it would be now if Trump was president. Said, can you imagine, as bad as it is, how much worse it could be if Donald Trump was president? And I was like, I said, as bad as if Donald Trump were president, this wouldn't be happening at all, you dumbass.
That's what I was going to say. So we wouldn't be in this situation at all, so we would never know.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it'd be a moot point.
So we have our loyal listeners on Rumble instead of Facebook today, because there is an issue with the Facebook stream. We aren't exactly sure. We are exploring that, so we'll keep you guys updated. We may have said something that maybe we can't say. We're not sure.
Yeah. Facebook purgatory.
Yes, but Mary McCann Highbreeder says, unbelievable. Who is funding these protests? And 2033, he will. How in the world can Democrats question all elections and Republicans can't question the dog catcher? You know, go see the movie tonight at the AMC behind the Savannah Mall, which is Dinesh D'Souza's new film, Police State, which is about the two-tiered justice system that we have in this country. And that's why. I mean, this is all planned, but you don't see a lot of Republicans standing up in these red states and fighting against this stuff, which I would have expected to see. But they're not taking this stuff on, which kind of is disheartening.
It is disheartening. What time is the flip?
It is at 7 p.m. tonight. They're supposed to open both theaters since on Monday they were unable to show the film. It was so weird, Bill.
Yeah, that is strange. Now, I heard Dan Bongino, who's one of the co-producers of this, by the way.
Yes.
He was talking about it on his radio show yesterday. He lives down near Stuart, Florida, where my grandmother lived for several years. And what a beautiful area. I'd love to live in Stuart. It'd be great. But nevertheless, I prefer Savannah, but I'd like to at least have a condo there, and go down.
Two places. I like it. I like it.
During the winter or something.
Yeah.
But he was saying that the theater that he went in, they started, people at the end of the movie, some were crying, others were like standing up and singing the national anthem.
Oh.
They saw him there in the theater where he was, and the place just went berserk. And he said it brought tears to his eyes, and he's not one of these people that is one of those really emotional type guys. But he said it brought he and his wife were just thrilled at the response from the audience. And he said he thought that was maybe just something at their place. He started getting emails and notes from everybody saying every theater they went to just about that was showing this, people were starting to sing the national anthem.
That's amazing.
At the end of the movie. So I hope they won't have trouble with the film again tonight at the AMC.
Yeah.
If they do, we know there's something rotten in Denmark, as the old saying goes.
Yes.
Quoting Shakespeare again.
Yeah. Imagine that. And, I think that this goes back to something that I said yesterday was we need to remember that this country is great, although that the people in government are trying to destroy it, and they're making people very disheartened and kind of upset with the country.
And we outnumber them, by the way.
Yes, we do. We just all need to get involved. We all need to stand up. And, there is so much that can be done. And I'm just surprised at people's, ability to complain, but not their ability to get involved. And at the end of the day, if we don't start getting involved, it's not going to matter. we're going to be living in a situation that none of us could probably imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If Hamas and the cartels are getting together, that's not that end of that equation ain't good at all. All right, coming up next.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about. And Hillary Clinton hitting the stage again.
Yes,
she's
the
wonderful. Yeah, love seeing her out and about.
Challenged by an audience member. This is classic. You got to see this. Stick around. Stay real.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us, because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning on this Wednesday. Here it is. We're getting ready. A week from today's November.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it really is.
Kind of wild.
So to get ready for Thanksgiving, and we have a lot to be thankful for, despite the fact of all the crap that's going on around the rest of the world.
Yes, and I do have to say that I'm going to guess that this is Steve Stanton. That's my guess. This 2033, he will. Bill, if I had your kind of money, I'd have a place in Stewart, Vale, Pebble Beach, Savannah, and the Tennessee Mountains.
Oh, wow. I'm glad. Steve, please let me know where the money is. So
is it buried somewhere? We'd like to know.
Yeah, we sure would. Yeah. Please.
Oh, it's so funny.
You don't know what broadcasters get paid in this town, do you?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
No, it's not.
Well,
thank God for Travis Chance, who actually is actually making money for us, and we'll be talking to Travis tomorrow. So,
and that's always a good time.
Absolutely.
Hillary Clinton, she always manages to show back up on the scene.
Doesn't she, though?
Yeah, I don't know why people like value her or think that she's like an expert in anything or why she should be hosting a panel.
And
But
if you could encapsulate one of her speeches, you'd have the best. Relaxium sleep, forget it. They'd be out of business in no time because you would go to sleep by the time before you could put down the glass of water.
Hillary.
And the money she gets paid for these presentations is unbelievable. She's about as exciting as watching paint dry.
yeah, well, she was hosting a panel and one of the audience members had kind of had enough of her lying and he stood up and I think that he was eventually escorted out.
Yeah.
Struck by the hypocrisy
I'm sorry,
of
we've
this.
got two more people to hear from.
I'm sorry.
You have a chance. Well, I'm not sorry. You sit down.
I
and
know
we're
you're
gonna
not
let
sorry.
other
That's the
people-
point. The
we're gonna let other
hypocrisy of
people
this
talk.
speech.
I'm
The
gonna
hypocrisy
turn
of the
now
fact
to
that
Frank
what do you
Mugisha.
have? Can you
Frank
please?
Mugisha is
Can you
a
please
leading
make a statement
civil
about
rights
President Joe Biden's
organizer
speech? This is
who
a clearly
is-
warmongering speech. President Joe Biden is calling for $100 billion of funding for Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine, and we're supposed to just bundle these together and pretend like we're going to rush to World War III, and we're all just going to let Hillary Rodham Clinton sit here. Okay.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. You know,
Yes.
this is not this is
No,
not the way
no,
to have
no,
a
that- I'm
conversation.
sorry.
If you want to
My-
have a
my-
conversation, you're
No,
welcome to come talk to me afterwards.
You can sit here. Okay, right. You're gonna wait for me, right? Please, I
will
don't.
wait for
I do
you,
not
and I
believe
will
you.
listen to you, and I will respond
I
to
do
you.
not believe you.
But right-
Respectfully, I do not believe you.
Well,
and the
then
fact of the matter is that the
just-
American people's voice are what need to be heard.
Yeah, they
because,
are being
because our
heard.
president is not speaking for the American people, and
Well,
neither are
that's
you.
your opinion. That's your opinion.
Yes, that's my
But-
opinion.
Well, then sit down. We've heard your opinion. Thank you very much. Now we're going to
I'm
turn
not
to
going to
people
sit down.
who are
I'm
on
not
the
going to
front
stop.
lines
I'm not going
of
to stop
working
intervening.
on behalf
I'm going to wait
of human
here.
rights.
I'm going to exercise my free speech
But
until
it's not,
until
it's
I'm
not
removed.
free speech when you
This-
are disrupting
Yes,
everybody
it is.
else's opportunity
It is free
to speak.
speech. This is free speech, everyone. This is free speech. That is not free speech. This is people constructing narratives that are openly hypocritical. I'm sorry. The incredible hypocrisy.
You know,
tell
maybe
me
you
John
could
Foster
actually-
Dulles went with Eleanor Roosevelt to bring this Declaration of the Rights of Man. John Foster Dulles was involved with the CIA.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're brilliant in your historical
thank you.
cherry
And
picking.
the Pinochet regime.
Oh,
Please, could you
listen.
please inform me about the United States
Okay,
involvement
we are
in these
going
historical
to,
things?
we're going to move on
Miss
to,
Clinton, will
to
you
Frank
denounce
Mugisha,
Joe
who's
Biden?
actually on
Will
the
you
front lines
denounce Joe
fighting for
Biden's
human
speech?
rights, not
Will you-
just yelling about it. So, Frank, I want to turn to you because you are from Uganda, and Uganda's 2023 Anti-Homosexuality Act criminalizes LGBTI conduct in Uganda.
To push us to World War III.
Oh,
Do you
please.
understand? It's not
Please.
about Israel and Palestine. It's not
Please.
it's not football. This isn't football. It's not Team America.
Well, I'm sorry, but some of us are on Team America despite our flaws and our
Yes,
problems.
yes,
And
that's me.
And some of us, every person on this stage.
You have to stop right now. You have to
Or
stop.
what?
Wait, I want to say
I'm
one
gonna
thing.
exercise my
Every
disrupting your
person
event.
on
You're
this
not
stage
exercising your-
has
right now,
risked
you have
their
to
life,
calm down.
their income, their reputation, their careers, and what have you done other than stand up and disrupt?
I need you to.
I will put my record and these women's records and Frank's records against you any
You're
day
disrupting the
of the
event.
year.
I'll respond. What I have done is I have asked Hillary Rodham Clinton to denounce the president's openly warmongering, suicidal, idiotic speech.
And
That's
I've
what
given
I've
my
asked.
answer. I will
That's
not
what
do
I've
that.
done.
So that's the end of our conversation.
Okay,
but I'll
sure.
still meet you
I need your
outside. But you're
identification
done.
right now. I'm telling
Okay,
you to
Frank.
Okay.
Frank has
Well, that was educational, wasn't it?
Well, I love that lady was like, these guys have risked their livelihoods.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, in what way? I mean, Hillary Clinton's probably sold us out just as much as Biden, if not more.
Yeah, and when she was, by the way, when she was Secretary of State, she was there was an episode in which she said they landed at a place like in Africa where she but were dodging gunfire.
Yeah.
There wasn't any gunfire. In fact, one of the pilots who had been involved in the situation called up one of the radio talk shows, one of the national shows, and said, "I was there. There wasn't anything. If there had been any threats whatsoever, we'd have never landed the plane."
Right. She's a made-for-TV liar.
Yeah.
If she says it's not free speech, according to Billary, you had better believe it or face jail time. We'll see what happens to this guy, honestly. And that was our 2033 he will commenting. And I
he
do
might be in the witness protection program as we speak.
Yes. Well, I mean, good for him, though. I think that people need to start standing up and calling these people out, because Hillary is a warmonger herself. And I'm sure she's made plenty of money off the U.S. Going into these wars. And her and Bill have laundered a lot of money through their foundation, haven't
They
they?
sure have. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And yet they are not in jail. Never.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Donald Trump is facing all of the things that the other side is doing.
Yep.
He's taking the bullets for that side.
The only president to ever lose money and not make money off the presidency. I think Obama made like an extraordinary amount of money off of his presidency.
He's got 3 or 4 oceanfront houses. Apparently, he's not worried about climate change.
Well, from what I understand, he was bankrupt when he went into the presidency. Someone had to, when he ran for president, someone gave him a house.
Yeah.
So, very interesting how things work.
Well, we've been wondering his background, but we've never found out. How did he get to Harvard? How did he afford Harvard? How did he afford all of these exclusive schools that he was going to all these years?
Very lucky guy.
This is the Manchurian candidate. You can believe it.
Yeah. Well, yesterday you were able to talk with Bubba, who's been on our show several times before.
Our good buddy Bubba Shaw. He is at it. This guy is amazing. And from his disabilities, he has turned lemons into lemonade. And himself in a wheelchair, confined to a wheelchair for life. But that's not stopping him. And he wants to help other people with wheelchairs. But he also has another cause. So he's looking for people with scrap metal, anything that can help him out where he can make wheelchairs and make life better for people who have other disabilities as well. Talk to Bubba about his latest convention but his latest convictions and what we need next. Bubba Shaw. And Bubba, here we are getting ready to go into the holiday season, and you're on another mission.
Yes, sir. We have 3 families to help this year. Last year I had 2, so we keep increasing a little bit. But we're going to help them with some Christmas gifts and some food. So,
how do they qualify for this, or how do they get in touch with you, or what?
Some people actually bring them to me. I met one of the families just trying to help out their son. He needed some equipment. He has cerebral palsy. And Dad lost his job, and I walked in and found out that they didn't have any food.
Oh my gosh!
So we've been trying to help with some extra food, and the one thing the little boy wanted for Christmas was just a Christmas tree.
That's easy to fix, isn't it?
Yeah, that's easy to fix.
You know, it's interesting to me, Bubba, when we see people like this that, really are in need, and they don't get the help that they deserve, and yet they don't want much.
They don't want much.
I remember when Johnny Carson used to do this thing of letters to Santa.
Yeah.
He would get from the New York post office, and these kids they'd be writing to Santa. They wouldn't be asking something. My brother needs a coat.
Yeah.
I need some shoes. They weren't asking for a lot. My mom needs, a toothbrush or something. I mean, it was something of that simple. They were never really asking anything for themselves.
No, they never do. I've never ran across anybody that, I want a $500 PlayStation. It was, I just want an extra blanket, or I want a couple extra toys for my kids. Barbie doll. Mm-hmm. Last year it was a couple Barbie dolls, and I hear from those kids every couple months.
And what are the qualifications? Of course, you're talking about kids who are have cerebral palsy or some sort of disability of some kind.
Some sort of disability, or even cancer. We've gone as far as doing somebody with cancer. That was like 3 years ago. and he was no longer in the hospital. They had told him he was going to die and he wanted to go home. And his thing was he wanted to make sure his family was going to have a good Christmas because he wasn't going to be there.
Oh,
So-
just amazing. And how did they find you?
Some people, when I pick up metal, they'll tell me about certain people that I need to go look at. Some people I just run across. Some people actually find me on Facebook.
And you have, this is part of your kind of a wheelchair ministry type thing?
Yes. It's the Wish to Walk Foundation, and we give out medical supplies, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, and stuff like that.
And what are you seeing the big need for right now?
Big need is always wheelchairs, and even the electric wheelchairs. I would get one or two in, they'd go right back out. Now, more and more people are requesting any kind of wheelchair because insurance is dragging their feet on basic necessities.
Hard to believe.
Very.
What and are you seeing any kind of light at the end of the tunnel? Or you?
There's always light.
Yeah.
There's always light. This time of year is my best time of year to get recharged because when we walk in and I make pleats like this and watch people come through, it recharges me for the next year. Right now, the other thing that we need, my mid-size trailer, I need to find a welder. Somebody to weld up the trailer for me because the last time I picked up metal, the frame split a little bit, so I can't use it until I can get it welded. But I need to get it welded so I can pick up more metal to turn in and do. And if you can't donate, you can always call me and have, if you have any kind of metal, old cars, soda cans, refrigerators, freezers, we take all that.
Okay.
And it's all turned back into the money. I go to Gerald's, what used to be Top Dollar Scrapyard, and they give me a little bit more than it's worth. And we turn all that into gift cards. We don't give anybody cash. We either turn it into gift cards or go get, if I can get a list of toys, some toys that they want, we try to go get that and deliver it before Christmas.
Fantastic. I think you got a great ministry going here, and we're heavily into shameless self-promotion, so how do people get in touch with you?
They can go on Facebook. It's called the Wish to Walk Foundation. Call phone number 912-508-4558. I also have GoFundMe. It's called Together We Can Move Mountains. And I have Cash App that's strictly for the foundation. It's called Wish to Walk, no spaces, and the $ before Wish to Walk.
All right, sir. Well, thank you for what you're doing, and
Thank you.
Hope this will help you a little bit.
Thank you.
Bubba's a real deal.
Yep.
Yeah, help him out if you can.
Definitely. And I've been involved with Bubba for a couple years. Worth the cause, says 2033 The Will. Yes.
Coming up next.
Well, we, have been in a speaker fight for, I think we're up to 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about who it's going to be today.
Who's next?
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like
rather than my skills. I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed by HR.
Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch really quick on a Breitbart article that came out yesterday that is very concerning to me, Bill, about how the business chamber here in Georgia is really pushing for illegal migrants to be able to get
work visas. Or
yes,
whatever.
well, easier having them actually benefit from getting free education here, so colleges, but American citizens are not getting the same benefit, and they're also pushing to make it easier to get a work permit here. This is all coming down from the Chamber of Commerce here in Georgia. We are taking in a lot of migrants right now. If you look at the population in our schools, even here in Chatham County, it has exploded.
The Chamber of Commerce used to be on our side. What I don't know what the hell's happened.
Well, this is what Buddy Carter had to say about it. Ride down the road and you see help wanted signs everywhere, Carter said. You see businesses closing down and cutting back on their business hours because they don't have the help. So basically, he's pro for doing this.
So illegals are going to help?
I guess so.
Are they going to have the skills?
I guess we're going to give them to them. We're going to pay for them to go to college. We're going to pay for them to, for their translators, I guess. I don't know, Bill. And Representative Caroline.
For their translators to learn the damn language, okay? Doesn't take long. There's an advertisement for Babbel.com.
Yeah.
Says that you can learn a language. You can be conversational in 3 weeks with Babbel.com. So how about telling the people to go there, learn the language?
Yep. And it says we are not getting replenishment from immigration that we've built our businesses around. And what I hear as I talk to people in business that are desperate for labor, said Bordeaux, who is a Democrat representative. But this is very, very concerning to me that this is a big push in the state of Georgia.
Republicans are behind it.
Well, here's the thing. We're starting to have the same policies as Colorado. When we start having the same policies of Colorado, I think we have a serious issue here in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
So just wanted to touch on that. There will be more to come, I'm sure, on this, but there is a bill that they are going to try to present in session. So make sure you're watching your representatives and how they're voting, because it is a primary year. So most of our representatives are up for re-election, so choose wisely.
Indeed.
Let's see. We have, regarding the Hillary heckler, he was speaking for all of us, says Mary McCann Highbreeder. And Cheryl has some Spanish here. I'm not going to read it. And then says Buddy needs help on his big old property down there on St. Simons. I believe he just bought a $9 million property on St. Simons, so good for him. And Buddy has gone neocon. He's not like WSAV. Says 2033 he will. And Cheryl says primary the squishy Republicans.
He's not on your side.
No, definitely not.
Of course, WSAV isn't either, but that's another story. Nevertheless, I'm looking for a new...
Yeah, Ann Drabeck says, Bill, you just found a new sponsor for the show, Babbel. Good job, Bill. Yes, we do need those sponsorships.
So the checks in the mail.
Yes,
I hope they're going to send it to us electronically. We can't wait for the mail.
Yes.
All right, so we need a new speaker. I don't know if you know this, but there's no Speaker of the House right now.
It's been 3 weeks. The good news is they haven't been able to do a lot of damage, which is always a good thing in the government. I think the libertarians are having parties all over the U.S. right now because the government is stalled out,
Yeah.
which I can appreciate.
But there is a candidate that I do like.
There is. Who is it?
This Mike Johnson.
Okay, well,
From
that's good
Louisiana.
news. That's
Yeah,
good news because he won the election yesterday within the House caucus for the Republicans.
Good. Well, let's have him. I've seen him on Fox and several times, and he's really good.
We want to thank all the press for waiting. It's been quite a process. Democracy is messy sometimes, but it is our system. This conference that you see, this House Republican majority, is united. I'm honored to have the support of my colleagues, and what they understand about this is servant leadership. We're going to serve the people of this country. We're going to restore their faith in this Congress, this institution of government. America is the last best hope of man on the earth. Abraham Lincoln said it. Ronald Reagan used to remind us all the time, and we're here to remind you of that again. We're going to restore your trust in what we do here. You're going to see a new form of government, and we are going to move this quickly. This group here is ready to govern, and we're going to govern well. We're going to do what's right by the people. And I believe that people are going to reward that next year. But we have a lot of big priorities ahead of us right now. The world is on fire. We stand with our ally, Israel. We have a very busy agenda. We have appropriations bills to get through the process, but you are going to see this group working like a well-oiled machine. We owe that to the American people. The people up here have been sent here by the people of this country to do this job, and we are going to do it well. We commit that to you. Thank you for allowing us to go through the process and get to this. It was worth it, and we are going to serve you well.
So he is very well spoken. He is not my number one pick. I'm still a Jim Jordan girl.
I am too, but nevertheless, I'm not a Jim Jordan girl.
Yeah,
But,
well, that's good. I'm glad that we clarified that. You don't know these days.
Boy, I'll tell you.
Ann Drabek says that Buddy needs to be primaried, and 2033 he will agrees with her. And no speaker, no more spending our money, says Ann Drabek. And Mary McCann Highbreeder said, time for all the rhinos to go. I do think that it's really important that we watch how the speaker vote goes down, because I'm not sure if he's going to make it over the finish line today. It'll be really interesting. We still had a lot of people voting McCarthy. There was also some talk yesterday of McCarthy brokering a deal with Jim Jordan to be the assistant speaker, or whatever that means. Yeah,
there's a new position.
I know.
The assistant speaker. Okay.
What about co-speakers?
Yeah, co-speaker.
Equal parts. I don't know how that would work, especially if something happened to the president or the vice president. How would that work? Would they be co-presidents?
I guess. Yeah.
Very interesting.
And I've thrown my hat into the ring, and I haven't heard a word.
Gosh, Bill.
Yeah.
How rude.
I thought
disrespectful.
So too. Yes.
Disrespectful.
Yeah. After all I've done for you.
I know. So I do think the speaker vote has exposed a lot. I know people are like, this is so embarrassing for Republicans. I don't think it is. I think this is how governing's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be messy. I think we should hear and know where all of our representatives stand, because it's been quite interesting to watch them squirm a little bit.
Yeah, because when you see the Democrats vote in lockstep, because they've accused us of that. There's something suspicious about that, because in any jury trial, you never get 12 people to agree on anything. Okay, somebody gets beaten out of their vote. So while there's always this, has the jury reached a verdict? No, Your Honor, we haven't. We want to see some more evidence. We want to get more clarification on this, that, or the other. Most times, unless you have a jury as stupid as the one from O.J. Simpson, these people, their IQ, I don't think, was approaching double digits.
Or the guy that just got convicted of the meme. I'm sure his jury was not great either.
Yeah. Was that on a jury? I thought that was just a judge.
Is it just a judge?
I don't know. I'm not sure on that case. But that jury was just idiotic, and somebody gets usually beaten out of their vote. But they were all, of course, racist, and they were OJ was going to get off no matter what. They found everything up at the scene except his Heisman Trophy. In fact, that might have been there too. They didn't mention it.
Yeah. It stayed off the evidence list for some reason. Cheryl says, anyway, Congress is not spending creating bad legislation is a good day, in my honest opinion. And Andrew Bick agrees. And Cheryl says any day, yes. Yeah. Any day that they're not spending our money is a good day. And here's the other thing.
They're spending it anyway.
Well, I don't understand that. How are they able to continue to spend money when we don't have a speaker? We should ask ourselves, we should be asking ourselves these questions. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because most people don't understand how the checks and balances work or how our government system is set up. And that's why we're seeing them be able to get away with, I'm sure this $100 billion is going to go. I'm sure that we're going to be writing a check very soon to Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan.
Call your friendly local school system and find out how many schools are teaching civics. Just see if that's in the curriculum.
Yes.
All right, coming up next, our good buddy Stratton Leopold. Makes the best ice cream and the best movies in the world. Hollywood movie producer and local guy and just all-around great guy. And he is interested in making, low-budget films that the people, and usually the low-budget films, make a fortune because this is what people want to see. You don't need car chases and people getting shot all over the place.
Well, it's more storytelling, right?
It really is. This is a true story. This is his dream project he's going to tell us about. Charlie Two Shoes, coming up.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Numerous times, but thumbnail sketch on Charlie Two Shoes. But what
Charlie
that's all
Two
about.
Shoes, true story of a young Chinese boy who, in 1949, let me back up even further. After the Second World War, several companies of U.S. Marines who had been through hell and fighting in the Pacific did not come home immediately. They were sent to China for two reasons primarily. The Chinese government, Chiang Kai-shek was the president, and Mao Zedong was fighting for the country. So they went in as observers, but the overriding reason was there were, I'm trying to think back, close to 400,000, 380, I can't remember how many, a lot of Japanese troops in China at the end of the war. And the Marines were there to supervise the repatriating of them back to Japan, because the Chinese, who had suffered greatly in the Second World War, at the hands of the Japanese, it would not have been pretty. So while they were there, this one kid, they called him Charlie, couldn't pronounce his name. He was 11. He was an ambitious kid. He initially, these Marines were camped close to Qingdao on the coast. And he was initially would gather firewood and barter for K-rations, which was the MREs of the day, to feed his parents and grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So the Marines realized he had gumption, and they started talking to him and giving him more to do. They made him a little Marine. They gave him a little uniform and taught him English. There was a convent in the city of Qingdao, which was, I've actually been to both the village and Qingdao. The College of the Ozarks sent us over there to shoot documentary footage, which we did, with Charlie, actually. And the village is a few kilometers, is close to the city. And they were at the convent. When the nuns came back after the war, they formed an American school. So the Marines sent Charlie to school. He had his first communion, became a Roman Catholic. He had his first communion there, and was really with the Marines, translating for them. He was a little Marine. The Marines were there until 1949, when Mao Zedong won, Chiang Kai-shek lost. There's a sidebar story to this I'll come back to. There was a U.S. submarine in the harbor about to leave as well when the Marines were leaving, the USS Pomfret. I'll come back to the Pomfret. So Captain Robertson, the head of the Love Company, the parents said, take Charlie with you. Things are not going to be good here. And he said, I can't do it. So the bamboo curtain falls, the Marines come back. They never forgot him. They had photographs of him. As they started having their own families, they would have the photographs on the mantle there, and they'd tell their kids, be like this kid. He was a great kid. Meanwhile, back in Charlie, the communists went to him and said, you have to join the party, and we want you as propaganda against the Americans. He said, I can't do that. They're my brothers. So it was bad. They threw him in jail, solitary confinement for 8 or 9 years, then house arrest after that. The Marines have no knowledge of this, of course. There's no communication. They finally allow him to marry. Jin Mi, his wife, was an educator. Now she can't get a job because of him. He's persona non grata completely.
Wow.
He would not renounce his faith. He would not renounce his friendship with the Americans. So he built a little shack. We've actually been to it. I mean, to call it a hovel is being kind. It's a room, probably how large? 15 by 25, 30 maybe. It's nothing. Windows are like a hole in the wall. I mean, we're crying in there when we saw it. It's probably gone by now because they're expanding. The city's expand so much over there. So anyway, he's resigned himself to this fate. Meanwhile, the Marines, they said, we left this guy there. What can we do? What can we do? One day in China, some buddies of Charlie go to him and say, there's an American president here, when Kissinger and President Nixon were there. And he said, what? I can't believe it. And it's just true. So he gets excited. He goes to the authorities to get permission to write letters, to give him permission. His mother had burned his address book long before because of fear of reprisal and what have you. So he starts praying to remember the addresses. He knew the names. He starts writing. One letter got through to a former Marine in North Carolina. He got it. He fell down crying. We have him on film too. He said he's alive. Now we're up to 1970s, I guess. Close. No, what am I saying? Well, later. And now you got this group of middle-aged men across the country. It was 1970s. Across the country, all calling each other, these former Marines. He's one of us, we left him behind. So they start communicating. We're up to 1980, 81 now. President Reagan is in office. So a man named, oh gosh, you have to edit this now. I wasn't ready with the name. Former Marine, also a congressman in Chapel Hill, Nick Galifianakis, who just passed away recently. Nick was a congressman, a Marine as well. He was not in China, but a Marine. He was at the White House at a function, and he mentioned the story to President Reagan. Reagan turned to Ed Meese and said, make this happen. So they get permission for Charlie to come. So Charlie flies over. The Marines met him in San Francisco, and they brought him to the Carolinas, to Chapel Hill, because many of the Marines lived from Kentucky, Carolinas. They were all in this part. There were a couple further west, but amazing welcome. I mean, they just had a wonderful time, and they had not seen him in decades. So he stayed, and so now he overstayed his visa. His family was kept behind. They kept them there. So now the Americans get all excited about it. Wait a minute, he can't be here, he's got to go. Charlie goes on TV, I'm a Marine, why can't I be here? So finally, it took Reagan again to make this happen, so his family, and brought the whole family over. So President Reagan was instrumental in this. And Charlie's here, his family's here. He opened a Chinese restaurant, did very well. His children are all American citizens now, and all are giving back. In fact, several years ago, I was asked to speak on the 4th of July, the Daughters of the American Revolution had a little get-together on the 4th and asked me to speak on patriotism. We met at Button Gwinnett's grave in Colonial Cemetery. I spoke about Charlie, because to me, he's a patriot, and he is. It was so interesting that day because the week before, 2 weeks prior to the 4th, I had been invited to Fort Stewart, something called Marne Muster Day, where a certain number of civilians go for a day in the life of, if you will. And I was there with Commanding General, flying around, blowing things up. I was doing live fire with the M4, which was an amazing thing with an ACOG sight. And so it was truly, I've done a lot of target shooting. I was on the rifle team at Benedictine for years. Anyway, so it was so interesting because I made my speech about Charlie Two Shoes, and it was a polite applause. And I said, there's one thing I will add about patriotism. I just left approximately 20,000 patriots down at Fort Stewart. And as a result of that, my weapon of choice is an A4 carbine. Thank you very much. And I mean, I think Jaws hit the floor. But anyway, it's all about Charlie.
It's all about Charlie. That's going to be a great movie. I hope he gets that made very soon because, like you said, Charlie's getting pretty long in the tooth. But nevertheless, what a great story. And it's stuff like this that needs to be on the screen. And I can promise you will bring just droves of people to the theaters.
Well, I think people are wanting that kind of human connection and that hero story, right? I think that when you look at some of the movies being released now, I mean, you go to a movie theater, I mean, they are dying. And it's because the movies that they're producing now have all this woke ideology in them. People don't want to sit through a whole movie like that. No. And I was talking to someone and they're like, yeah, when I went to a movie, it was a good movie. I can't remember which one it was, but during it, all of a sudden, you find out that one of the main characters has like a lesbian whatever, and you could hear the whole theater just go, like, we just want to go and not have it thrown in our face. That's all. Like, we just want a good story.
And you would think theater managers would be demanding this. The best reaction I've ever seen from corporate America or to corporate America that they finally caved on was the franchisees or franchise owners of Subway. When they put Megan Rapinoe after the girls won the World Soccer event a couple of years ago, and put Megan Rapinoe on the Subway commercials, the franchisees wrote into the corporate and said, get her off there immediately, if not sooner. Our business is dropping like a stone in free fall. And the next commercial I saw for Subway, Megan Rapinoe wasn't there. Yeah, sometimes these people are made to be popular by the algorithms. They're not actually popular with the American people or with a lot of the brands that they claim to be. So definitely wouldn't want Megan Rapinoe or Rapinoe, however you say her last name. Rapinoe is the only way I've ever heard it. But, I've heard it both ways. Yeah, good for you. Yes, but inclusive. Yeah, that's what I aim to be, is very inclusive. So I'm glad you recognize that. I'm glad you recognize that. All right, hey, we got to go. We're over time, but please help us out. Okay, we're on life support here, folks. If you don't help, we're going to be gone soon. So please, anything you can do, advertising wise, why corporate America or why the people here and own businesses here are not interested in supporting a locally owned. Nobody tells us what to do. Nobody tells us what to say. As you can probably, if you figure this out, haven't picked up on that. We are conservative. We're going to and we're going into the big maybe the biggest election year in the history of the United States of America. We need to be here. We need your help, please. Yes, I mean 2024 is a big election, and you're also not hearing a lot of the stories in mainstream like the one we talked about this morning with the GOP that is supporting all of these illegal immigrants coming in here that frustrate everyone. So make sure you're following that and also following what your representatives are doing. So that's something that we want to focus on. So make sure you support us.
Make sure you share and like our show, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.